Yes, thank you very much. It's really a pleasure for me to be here. But at the very beginning, I have to warn you, I'm a nuclear physicist, not somebody coming from social sciences. My experience is completely different, but on the other hand, I'm very much involved in different things. I'm rector of the University of Novi Sad as well, and I fully appreciate different important topics which are mentioned during the previous session, but also during Mr. Svilanović introductory talk. The Danube Strategy is very important for member states, but also for the non-member states, as Mr. Svilanović mentioned, to become Europe in the wider sense, and I really believe that we can help through the Danube Strategy. Maybe just few introductory things about the Danube Strategy. The Danube Strategy has 4 pillars. One of the pillars is building prosperity in the Danube region. It is pillar C, and it has 3 priorities. Priority 7, 8, and 9. Priority 7 is about knowledge society, basically about higher education, research, and information and communication technologies. Priority 8 is about competitiveness, and priority 9 is about people and skills, more or less about vocational education. I will come to your comment that I fully agree about that. Vocational education, as it was mentioned, here is also a very important part of the whole priority building prosperity. Well, first of all, it was mentioned previously that Danube macro region really encompasses some of the extremes in the European Union and wider Europe, not only in economic but also in social terms, and it has some of the poorest countries in the region and some of the most highly skilled working forces, and also different one as well. So basically we have to work together, all those 14 countries, to find a way how to develop this strategy, and specifically how to develop this priority area 7, which is about building knowledge society. European Commission has identified several targets for the priority area 7. And then members of the steering groups were asked, well, you know, those targets are rather high. Can you tell us something more realistic? And I said no. If those targets were set by prime ministers or presidents of republics belonging to the Danube macro region, who are we, experts from the steering group, to reduce them? Because basically they asked us to reduce them. So we have those targets, and I will give you the data about that. So one of the targets is to invest 3% of GDP in research and development by 2020. To have broadband access to internet to all citizens of the Danube micro region by 2013. To increase the number of patents obtained by the region in the region by 50%. To increase the share of EU population in the Danube region aged between 30 and 34 with tertiary education or equivalent to 40% by 2020. And to improve balance of mobility ratio of incoming and outgoing student, and to go towards something what we call brain circulation. Mm-hmm. What is the current situation? Well, let's talk about number of patents first in the region. At the moment we have 9 member states of the European Union and 5 non-member states. And what is the main problem when we talk about those targets? For member states, trend is going in the right direction. For the non-member state, it's not only that the total value are different, but the trend is completely opposite. And that is the main problem. When we talk about increased number of patents, for, let's say, Austria, it goes in the right direction, and we are going towards that increase of 50%. But for example, for Bulgaria, we are going in completely opposite direction. That is the problem. To invest 3% of GDP in research and development, I will compare Baden-Württemberg and Serbia. In Serbia, we are still investing 0.3% of GDP into research and innovation. Maybe a little bit more. There is a problem about how we calculate that and who is investing beside state. But anyway, we are of the order of 0.3, 0.4%. Baden-Württemberg is investing 4.8%. of its GDP. So we are not talking only about one of the order of magnitude. We are talking about 2 orders of magnitude because GDPs are different for another order of magnitude. So that is another problem. So how to proceed? First of all, we have to cooperate. And that was the word which was mentioned yesterday several times and this morning several times. And I fully agree and I fully appreciate that. I'm always for cooperation. But we must be realistic. We should say we should cooperate, but we should be aware about the competition as well. And competition is needed, and competition is our reality. If we talk only about higher education, in a sense, we are competing for the same market, for the same number of students. And let me remind you that we have about 3 million students in the Danube macro region. It is great potential. And basically, we have to be aware that we compete, and competition is important. Competition is important to improve quality of higher education, but also to improve the quality of research and, of course, then other markets as well. But what was our position as priority area coordinators for this priority? Yes, we said we want to support cooperation, to support cooperation based on excellence, but also on complementarity. We said we will support all those projects which will establish or put together centers of excellence, but in a complementary way. If we support just centers of excellence, all of them will be in Baden-Württemberg, Bavaria, in Austria, and maybe very, very few elsewhere. But we want to have projects in which there will be one center of excellence in what I call Upper Danube or most developed countries, and another one in the Lower Danube or transitional countries, and then always connected with several institutions which are in between, trying to help them to work together. We usually say that developing regions downstream can benefit from the leading, indeed world-class, innovative regions upstream. And I must say that we have some really good support from those countries coming from the Upper Danube. Another problem which was mentioned yesterday is brain circulation. And it is a dramatic problem. Coming from university and being professor, very often asked by my students to sign their letter of recommendation, I'm extremely worried, extremely. The situation is dramatic. And we have to be aware about that. I'm mainly talking about Western Balkan countries. Maybe I can say that it's worse than in the 90s. And it is really dramatic situation. But But there are certain networks within Southeast Europe, CIPUS, for example, through which we have much better situation than we count all those other networking within Europe and opportunities for students and researchers to go back and forth. As I mentioned, in CIPUS network, we have almost balance between incoming and outgoing students. So there is a certain thing to analyze to see what is the characteristic of that specific kind of network which helps to improve that balance. And instead, going about the brain gain and brain drain, we try, when I say we, I talk about the Danube Strategy, the Priority Area 7 coordinators, but I also talk on behalf of the Danube Rectors Conference and other institutions which are supporting cooperation in the Danube macro region. We are talking about brain circulation, and that is something that we really need full support of all the people from the region and outside of the region, from the EU or European Union and from the European Commission. We need really to support brain circulation. And maybe something else. We need to support talent circulation, because we need a lot of people to move around, but we need the most talented people to go around, to work together with alike, and to inspire other people. So please try to help us in that sense to develop. At the very beginning, the Danube Strategy started with 3 no's. No new financial instruments, no new institution, and no new bylaws or regulations. But anyway, and I was a bit worried at the very beginning. Now I'm much more optimistic because there are much more bottom-up initiatives and people are aware of cooperation in the Danube macro region, but there are also a lot of top-down initiatives, and one which is very important for us is about Joint Research Center as one of the most important European institutions in developing policies in research and higher education, but also in having institutions which are able to perform research in that topics. And so Joint Research Center is now one of the driving forces to develop and to improve the quality of research, and not only fundamental research, of course, but also applied research. And you should understand that basically priority area 7, which is about higher education and information technologies and research, is a horizontal priority. It is not priority for itself. It is priority to improve mobility and multimodality, to improve environmental topics, to improve tourism and other topics as well. So I am really very glad to Joint Research Center, which helps us a lot. To come back a little bit what was mentioned about vocational education, we are fully aware about the importance of vocational education, and priority areas 7, 8, and 9, as I mentioned, knowledge society, about high education, research and information and communication technology, together with priority area 8, which is competitiveness of the Danube macro region economy as part of the European economy, and together with people and skills, which is basically about vocational education, very often work together. And we had several meetings together, and we tried to define common policies, and I fully agree, even though I come from university and I really appreciate higher education at the academic level, we really need the proper vocational education in most of the countries which are mentioned as part of the Danube macro region. Another topic which is very important just to mention is smart specialization strategy as one of the important issues as part of the European policies, and of course research and innovation for smart specialization strategy, because research and innovation should be related to what is smart specialization strategy, not only at the regional level but also on the wider level. When we try to understand the issue of smart specialization strategy, keyword is not strategy, keyword is smart. And I'm sure that we all appreciate the word smart. It can be translated as intelligent and clever, and in a different way. So basically, we have to try to find the most important research and innovation which are related to what can be transformed into economic development of different regions. And going towards the end, let me just mention that innovation is another important word which I have to mention. But coming from physics and being very close to technical innovation, I can claim that technical innovation, which were emphasized so much previously, didn't solve most of the problems of our societies, of humanities and all. And so even though it improved the quality of our lives, it didn't really solve most of the problems. So we should be aware of that, and we should support innovation, but we have to understand that innovations are not only technical innovations, we are talking about social innovations. We have to understand that in the Danube macro region, 80% of Roma population lives, 80% of the European Roma population lives, and we have to concentrate on those marginalized communities, marginalized people in our societies. And at the very end, maybe just two messages to support what we are trying to do in the priority area 7. First of all, innovation cannot be dictated, but it can be cultivated. So let's try to cultivate innovative approach within our countries and within our regions or macro regions. And another one is that working together can or must become a habit or a skill. Thank you very much.
So thank you.